Welcome to Glasgow Rangers Nation with me, your host, Owen James. The channel brings you your team every single day. Hope you like that new music on the intro called Blue Day. That was quite applicable, obviously. So we're going to talk some Super Sima. We're going to talk a little bit of Igamane or Igman, the man Igman. And we're going to talk about a little bit of Lammers news. Yes, Lammers news. Well, where do we start amongst all this? Well, before we get to Igman, which is obviously the done deal, which apparently will be announced very soon after all the stories, and we'll clarify that a bit. Don't worry, we'll get there. Let's talk a little bit about Sam Lammers. Old Lammers himself, came to Rangers, flat to deceive, went out to Holland and suddenly looked like prime Marco van Basten. Well, kind of, I suppose, like B-Tech Marco van Basten, maybe, rather than prime Marco van Basten. Now, he obviously was on loan at FC Utrecht. And look, I think we're in a position, I think we all realise now that the salary that Lammers wants, given the fact that he is quite highly paid by Rangers, and of course the transfer fee that Rangers want as well, cannot be met by FC Utrecht. Now, that obviously leaves a problem. Do we therefore end up getting stuck with Lammers, or do we look at trying to move him on? Now, it appears that there is a way out for Lammers back to the Eredivisie because, look, let's face facts, let's face reality, let's look at Lammers and let's think about those statistics that I've shared on previous videos with you, where if you look at his numbers in the Eredivisie are actually pretty good, and he actually looks like a decent player in the Eredivisie, whereas take him out of the Eredivisie and he looks, well, bang average. So, look, apparently there is a route for him back to the Eredivisie, and this is with AZ Alkmaar. Apparently Alkmaar are readying a bid for Sam Lammers. That is the talk that is currently ongoing in Holland. Alkmaar, obviously one of the big clubs in Holland, underneath obviously the absolute giants of PSV Eindhoven, Feyenoord and Ajax. I don't think I'm too disrespectful when I state that, they are a very good club, Alkmaar, with a proud history. They finished fourth last season in the Eredivisie, ahead, funnily enough, of Ajax, who finished fifth, and Twente finished third above them. They qualified for the Europa League group stage, AZ Alkmaar. So that obviously, if Lammers was to go to Alkmaar, he would be getting European football. Now, when Sam Lammers was out in Holland this time with Utrecht, he looked a good player. He looked a very good player. I mean, 14 goal contributions in 20 games, 11 of those being goals, was pretty excellent for a player who looked absolutely awful at Rangers, lacking confidence, lacking absolutely everything. So look, what are AZ prepared to pay for him? Now, according to reports, the initial bid is somewhere around about £2.5 million for Sam Lammers. Now, personally, I feel that this is undervaluing him a little bit. I mean, and that may seem utterly ludicrous, given his form, given his, time at Rangers, and obviously, how he performed at Rangers, and the fact that, he genuinely was not at all very good. So look, that's where we're at. £2.5 million, I don't think is enough. Hopefully that will be just an initial bid. Now, you look at Transfer Market, which is one of the top websites for football stats, football facts, football statistics and opinions. Well, no opinions, actually. It's all stats. It's all stat-based. It's all finance-based. It's all very accurate. They currently value Sam Lammers at around €5 million, which is around 4.6 million pounds, which would certainly be turning a profit on Lammers to some extent. You look at his previous transfers, you look at the fact that, how much Rangers paid for him when he was transferred to Rangers. Now, according to Transfer Market, he was transferred to them for £2.5 million. How accurate that is, I mean, I've heard 3 as a possible value for him. So, if we could get, say, 4.5 million, that would actually indicate a profit on the player. I certainly don't think that we should be selling him for a loss. Now, look, that seems weird to say, doesn't it? I mean, if you go back to, when he was at Rangers, I think if someone had come in and offered you £2.5 million for Sam Lammers, you'd have gone, yeah, please give it me. Here you go, have him, take him. But, given his form in the Eredivisie, given the goals that he scored whilst playing for Utrecht. And the way he played for Utrecht, I do think that value of 2.5 million is substantially undervaluing Lammers. I mean, let's face it, if you went now to the Eredivisie and you tried to sign a Dutch striker who'd scored 11 goals in 20 games and 14 goal contributions in 20 games, you'd be looking at 4.5, 5, 6, 7 million pounds for him easily if you're going to bring him to Scotland, or if you're going to bring him to England, you may be even looking 7, 8, 9, 10 million pounds. So look, I do think that 2.5 is a little bit insulting. Whether Alkmaar are serious with that, whether that is just an opening bid, I don't know. But look, it really does need to be. I don't think that 2.5 is a reasonable fee at all for Sam Lammers. It does need to be substantially higher than that, given his current form for Utrecht. Now, according to a number of reports, and I know we've reported this before in terms of the fact that he signed, and it was expected to be announced on the first Monday, the Monday the 14th, the actual Monday where training opened for Rangers, where pre-season actually started, and it didn't seem to go through at that point. A lot of people keep going, well, what's happening with him? Where is he? Where's Igman? What's the latest on Igman? What is actually going on with the player? What's the status of Igman? Now, according to a number of sources in Morocco, in France, and also in England, Hamza Igman to Rangers is imminent. An announcement is expected shortly on a 5-year deal. That is what is being reported, that Rangers have paid 2.5 million for Igman, not the 1.5 that was initially reported. It's 2.5 million, and that it is a 5-year contract, very much within the process of tying these young players that we're signing for minimal fees down to long-term contracts, so that that if they do develop as we hope they do, that we can still at some point, say 2-3 years down the line, turn them for a major profit. And certainly that is the hope with Hamza Igman, who is exceptionally highly rated in his own native Morocco, expected to be called up for the Morocco full national team. And like we know, the Morocco's national team are very, very talented. This is a team that reached the semi-finals of the World Cup. Have some very talented players within it. So look, Igman, it's a risk. It is a huge risk. And I understand that there are some supporters out there that are a little bit concerned about the lack of experienced strikers, the worry that, that we're going to have to depend on Cyril Dessers next year again, which is just awful. Danilo, obviously, I think it's too early to kind of assess him, given the fact that he had those horrible injuries last season, none of which are his fault or muscular. It's a massive gamble. It is a huge gamble at paying 2.5 million, 5-year contract for such a young player who has got zero experience outside of Morocco is a gamble. But then the way I look at it is this, guy, ladies and gentlemen, is that any signing is a gamble. Any signing is a gamble, no matter what you pay for a player, no matter what faith you place in a player, no matter who you go out and get. Any signing is a gamble. And, even if you go and sign someone like Erling Haaland, Lionel Messi, and that seems crazy to say, you've got no guarantee they're going to settle at your club. You've got no guarantee they're going to fit in with your club, fit in with your playing style, fit in with your players. And, it can all go hideously wrong. We've seen, haven't we, other clubs, Juan Sebastian Veron, Fernando Torres, Andrei Shevchenko, all turn into unmitigated disasters. Rangers have had their fair share as well of players that have come in with a great fanfare and been absolute, pure, unadulterated tosh. So look, this is what it is. It's a risk, like any signing, but it's a positive one, and it's an exciting one. It's an interesting one. It's something different from the norm. It's something different from the same old championship duffers that we seem to sign, and the wasted money of Michael Beale. It is a new direction. And look, I understand it's a risk, and I understand some of you out there are worried, but the deal is imminent. It is 2.5 million. It is 5 years. And look, he is talented. He is, someone who is very highly regarded in his own native country. And I know that Morocco and the Moroccan league is substantially different to playing for Rangers, for playing in the SPL, playing in the Europa League, in the Champions League, whatever. Obviously, European competition Rangers are in. It is massively different, and I understand that. But every player has to start somewhere. Every player has a line of growth, a line of development. We've got to obviously hope that when we sign Igman, that rate of development under Clement, under Alex Ray, under our new Dutch assistant manager is like that, not like that or like that. So that's where we're up to. Look, it looks imminent. It will be done. It will be done very soon. 2.5 million, 5 years, done, sold to the club in blue. Right. Okay. So transfer news. Now, look, you all understand how I feel about Abdallah Sima. I love Abdallah Sima. I absolutely love him. I just love the guy's quality. I love his passion. I love the fact that he loves our club. I love the fact that playing for this club actually means something to him. He's fast. He's direct. He takes his man on. He goes at players. Something that was really missing towards the end of last season. Something this club badly needs is a player who's not afraid to have a go, to really go at someone. He's a fantastic finisher. He's probably, now that Kamal Roof has left, the best finisher at Rangers. And I think, if he played a whole season and not missed time with injury, he would have, I think, been the top scorer at the club. His record certainly is very, very good. He can play right, he can play left, he can play down the middle. There's a lot of positives to Abdallah Sima. Now, look, I think, once his loan ended, there was that worry, wasn't there, that, that he would obviously go, he'd leave, and we'd never see him again. 13 goal contributions in 25, 11 goals in 25 Scottish Premiership games, 1 goal in 4 games in the Scottish League Cup, 3 goals in 6 in the Europa League. That's quality. That's is a higher level of competition. 1 goal in the Champions League. So overall, he's had 9 appearances, scored 4 goals in Europe. In the higher level competition there. So very impressive. So look, I think we all worried, didn't we, that once once his loan move expired, that would be it, that it would be done and dusted, and we'd probably never see him again. As much as we might want to see Abdallah again, it was always worried that we wouldn't be able to afford him, that the price would be be far too far too big, and that it would not be possible. Now, Brian did say that once he returned to Brian, that no decision would be taken on him until the new manager had time to look at look at them, to assess them. Now, his new manager is this guy here called Fabian Hurlitzer. He has obviously taken control of Brighton and is willing to allow Sima to move on. Now, Brighton have already added to their forwards again, or with the signing of Yankuba Minte from Newcastle for a record £33 million. As well, apparently, Ibrahim Osman, another very highly rated player from FC Nordjylland, where we got Diamande from, has also joined Brighton as well. Hurlitzer apparently is willing to allow Sima to leave, believing he doesn't really fit in with his squad. Now, it was feared that obviously this transfer fee would be astronomical and unaffordable for the club, and it now appears that that Hurlitzer is expected to be open to doing a cut price deal on Sima to allow him to go, because of the fact that obviously his contract is running down, and that any money they can get for him at this point would be a bonus. It is rumoured that the fee could be even less than £8 million. Now, given the fact that we were, concerned that the fee could go north of 8 million, 9, 10 million, if we can get him for somewhere around £6-7 million, I think this is highly attainable. I think, with the fact we paid £6 million for Danilo last summer shows that it is attainable. He is a very, very talented player. And again, he is a young player. Again, he is someone, though, who has, even though he's a young player, brings experience. He's played in England, he's played in France, he's played in the Czech Republic, he's played in the English Premier League, he's now played in Scotland. He has a vast wealth of experience, showing that experienced players don't need to be over 30. You don't need to go and sign a load of 30-year-olds or 32-year-olds, or keep a load of deadbeat 31 or 32-year-olds to, kind of just show that you've got experience. Experience can be younger players who've played a lot of games, and Abdallah Sima certainly fits that role. Now, this comes on the back of a number of pundits, a number of analysts, Romano included, saying that Rangers are now turning their focus to experienced players. Sima certainly fits that bill. Now, if we could get him for, say, £6-7 million, I think this is a deal that we really do need to do. He is quality. He is super talented. I mean, the way I look at it is this. I mean, forget who plays up front for a minute. Forget who plays in the 10 role, or even if we play with a 10 next season. But if you've got Cortez one side and Sima the other side, that is dangerous. That is scary. That is going to put the fear of God into Celtic. One of the things that we lacked last season, with player injuries, was the directness and speed to really get at people and hurt them. And certainly Celtic have shown in Europe that when teams go at them and have a go and have pace and aggression, they struggle. They fold like a cheap suit. As they've done on multiple times in the Champions League. So look, Cortez and Sima would bring a dynamic to this team that would be absolutely outstanding. And I think they would be our starting wingers going forward into the new season. And for wingers that would, I think, score 15 plus goals each, would provide real threat and power and pace them out wide, good delivery, and certainly, take that load. People talk about, we can't let Tav leave because how do you replace his goals and assists? Well, you put in place two top-notch, top-talented wingers like Abdallah Sima, like Oscar Cortez, who will take over that assist supply, add with the goal supply, chip in with goals, something our midfield didn't really do last season. That is something I think, and that is a reason why I want to see this man back in Rangers blue, back at Ibrox next season, when we finally get back there, and causing all sorts of harassment of the other side of the city, as well as obviously being a phenomenal success for the club. Look, this is where we're up to now. We're now obviously heading towards the season. We've got a friendly coming up on the 13th of July, I think it is, against Ajax, for the 24th of July against Birmingham City. At this moment in time, there's going to be a lot of bloody kids playing these games, given the injuries, and obviously given the fact that players who went obviously with their national team will need more time off. Given that I said Hadji at the moment, I suppose McCausland to some extent with Northern Ireland, but it's crazy, to be this close to the first pre-season games and not yet have brought in these experienced players is a bit crazy, and I hope that will start to get done over the next couple of weeks. Right, so look, that's where we're up to. That's where we're at now. Just a bit of heads up for the rest of Wednesday, the 3rd of July, not June, July. This morning at 11 a.m. If you've already missed this, it was this morning at 11 a.m. We're going live to start the new season on the channel. The channel's new season will officially start for 24-25 on Wednesday, the 3rd of July. Our pre-season starts then. And finally, of course, at 8:30 p.m. on the same channel later on, it is your show. It is down to you. It is the Q&A, your chance to get your questions, ask your questions, and have myself and the live chat discuss them and answer them for you on the podcast. That is 8:30 p.m. tonight. So just a reminder, 11 a.m. this morning, if you're watching this video before 11 a.m. or 8:30 tonight, we've got the Q&A. Come and join us for both of those live podcasts. Guys, it's going up a stage. We're going to push it up this rest of this new season now. This is it. This is the future. This is the future. This is my aim. This channel to 100,000 subscribers in the next 5 years. Guys, please obviously help out by smashing that sub. This channel, this club means everything to me. This channel means everything to me. I love this club. I love this channel. I love talking about my Rangers. Guys, you are always part of my journey. You will always be part of my journey. Thank you for watching Glasgow Rangers Nation, guys. Please, obviously, smash that sub. And on the way out, 2 things I always ask of you. 1, smash the like. It beats the algorithm. And 2, please, always remember, never forget, no matter what you're told, no matter how you're baited, no matter the criticism you receive, we are the people.